Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm about to read Chapter 9, Company. It's nearly midnight when I have again made my way up the tunnel from my room onto the high tree branches above. I sit down in the same area as before to stare at the stars, hoping to clear my head. It's been 2 weeks since the night I woke bloodied in my room. In that time, my new close relationship with Wystan has faded. It's hard to say whether it's just me pulling away or if he is becoming distant as well. It would be nice to know if he suspects me of knowing his lie. I am not sure if I am safe to approach him with it. I'm physically 10 years old, I think, and he could be a killer. This distance between us is hurting my family too. Nobody will say it, although you'd have to be numb not to feel it. I stare down the narrow path of connecting trees and imagine myself using the escape route to leave the city. This family, this new place I call home. I look past the darkness, observe the narrow swaying bridge that attaches this tree to the one in front of me, and picture me walking over to it. I stand up, keeping my eyes glued to the path I could take, maybe should take. They were a family before I came along, and I don't want to ruin it. This is another one of those choices that define who you are, and I, more than ever, don't know who I am. I could do it. Leave. I'm not scared of whatever is out there. I know that I should be, though that's not what binds me here. It's my smart, sweet, and quiet Syrah, who I cannot help but admire because her pure spirit makes me strive to be a better person. It's my rambunctious, annoying, goofy sister, Castanea, who I cannot help but adore because her playfulness always puts a smile on my face. And it's my warm, caring mother, Akarim, who is impossible not to love because she loves back so much. Lastly, even though he is my conflict, it's Wystan who keeps me here. He's important because he has been everything my blood father wasn't. I do hope that someday I'll learn I'm wrong, that I'll be able to prove his innocence in the matter. If he did kill Drobe, I need to believe there was a good reason. I wish I could take back that dream, forget about it, and have my connection with him in return. If I go back down that dark tunnel into my room, I need to try to trust him. I need to rebuild that relationship with him to make my family whole again. I am the outsider. It's my responsibility to fix what I have broken or leave and lose my place among this family. While I prepare to head back down the tunnel, I glance down at the alternate path to run away and notice a fleck of light in the darkness. It's not a star. It can't be. The gleaming ball is inside the transparent silhouette of trees that glows across the large clearing. That didn't sound quite right. I'm going to reread that again. The gleaming ball is inside the transparent silhouette of trees that are across the large clearing. The one sparkling dot grows into 3 and 3 into 10. The growing specks of light appear to be traveling toward us from those trees into the fog of the grassy field. The small body of lights swell into a mass of well over 300 and growing. I look down into the city and learn that a few people have already gathered to watch this phenomenon. Are we under attack? I climb down the wall of the tunnel as fast as I can and yell for the family to wake up as I go. I don't want to let them know about me using this exit. However, my first priority is their safety. I worry that the Vale's armies have found the location of our city. Syrah said that Andariel is by far the biggest of the Vane cities because the priestess lives here. To attack this place would be a clear act of war, and the frail treaty would be broken. As I enter my room, the whole family is waiting for me. Somebody is coming. They're just outside the city. Who is coming? Seer asks as she rubs her eyes. I don't know. There must be hundreds of them out there in the field by now. Akram looks at Wystan and gives a faint smile. It must be time. He has never seen it before, Wystan replies. We should go watch, Akram adds. Do we have to? We'll see them soon enough. I'm tired. If anyone asks, we could just say none of us woke up. His eyes shift toward me with frustration. Yes, we have to. Nathan hasn't seen it before. The girls have only seen it once, and they were 4 when it happened last. I'm sure they would also enjoy it. The gathering? Castanea asks. Seer grows a big smile. You know what that means, sis. The city is awake again as we make our way outside. They've gathered to watch the glowing dots of light moving around in the field. It reminds me of my childhood in Indiana, where I'd try to catch fireflies in Grandma's yard late at night. I look around at the people crowding me and see expressions of wonder on some of the youngest children. The kids closer to my age don't appear worried at all. They're jumping about with excitement and waving at the field of lights. Castanea stands out from the crowd of obnoxious kids with her little dance around mom. Sierra, on the other hand, has her head laid against Wystan's hip, snuggling up to him. There are way more than previous years. How will we be able to hide them all? Akram asks. You're right. This is unfair to our city, Wystan says. Nathan, those are traveling families with kids ready to receive a destiny reading from the priestess. Akram explains. Why are there so many this year? Sierra asks. Wystan looks at me with stern eyes. I suspect some of them are only here to watch Nate's destiny reading. I press my lips together to keep myself from apologizing or saying something rude to him. Akram's brows draw together as she faces Wystan. It's not your fault, Nathan. No, it's not, Wystan says. The tone of his voice doesn't tell me whether he's sincere. Tell me how sincere he is being. Thanks, Dad. His eyes grow in surprise. I haven't called him that in a little while. We should go pray to the priestess, Akram tells us, and we head to the waterfall entrance of the priestess's home. When we get there, I'm surprised to see how many people have gathered. They're humming a shifting tune and moving from side to side in unison to the beat of a drum. It almost feels like I'm at a Christian music concert by the spiritual feeling in the cold night air. The adults are joyful as they pray to the large tree at the top of the cliff. It's now that I realize I haven't prayed to God, that is Earth's God, in several months. I was never the type to pray often. Being here on this new planet makes me wonder if praying to him is even valid anymore. Does he rule over this world? Or does this world's belief in a separate God matter more now? I never knew for sure that he was real, and now I have to wonder about a new God. This is all for the destiny readings. Other cities don't have someone who can give their kids a reading, I ask. I just realized I said that kind of weird, didn't say it in a questioning tone. This is all for the destiny reading? Other cities don't have someone to give their kids a reading, I ask? There are elders who claim to see the future, but there's only one priestess at a time, Sierra explains. A priestess can see the details of the future clearer than anyone else on the planet. For that, many families come here to be blessed by her rather than the elders of their homes. What justifies being called a priestess? When a priestess dies, she is reincarnated within a year of her death. The mother of that child always dies during the birth, and the child bears the same birthmark as the previous ones had. Sometimes The priestess is not found for many years after her birth, as this one has, but she always comes back to us when we need her. So she knows the futures even as a baby. Casta giggles. No, she sees the future through the eyes of the one she reads. She does this by touching them, and the more people she touches, the more she knows of the future. Is she a god? She has never claimed to be a god, says Sira. She might as well be, though. I mean, we're praying to her, right? Castanea argues. We're calling for her to show herself to us, Sira says. Hush, you're supposed to be praying, Weisman whispers. After an hour in this massive crowd, the round glass bulbs in the branches of the trees begin to glow white, one by one. The waterfall splits down the center, opening the cave behind it. The wooden bridge emerges and rests down in front of us. While the hum of the crowds dies, the first figure walks out of the dark cave, though it isn't whom I suspected. The woman who stands before us is an adult. She has pale white skin, long blonde hair, and is dressed in pearly white dragon scale armor. She has a white cape sewn in under her large shoulder armor, and another cloth draping down the front of her chest plate. This cloth is green, with gold lining, and has a gold emblem placed at the center of its torso. The crest has what looks like a jagged tree branch centered inside a circle. From behind her left shoulder, a thick metal handle protrudes. It's hard to tell what kind of weapon it is yet. Surprisingly, the last thing I take in is her face. Most of her facial features are completely smooth, as though they had been melted off in a fire some time ago. Presenting her grace, the vain priestess, Aneth, the knightly woman announces, before stretching her right arm out toward the shadow of the cave. The red-headed young priestess emerges. She's wearing a sparkling robe made of thousands of tiny emeralds and a hood resting on her back. Both her pale skin and her high-pointed ears make me believe that these two figures are of the same race of wood elves, same race as the wood elves fought in one of the many dreams. I hope you got that. Tonight, the Vane gathers from all over the land so as children may receive their destiny. It is both a ceremonial tradition and a gift received through me from Lina, the priestess states in a squeaky little voice. Lina is our goddess, Nate, Sira whispers while staring at Castanea. This is a blessing I am privileged to carry out to those who are deserving of it. However, many of you have come out of selfish curiosity. You risk the safety of Andaria and of the Vane as a whole. I know what you are after, but I will not break tradition or play favorites to the one you seek. She stares straight at me before continuing her speech. If you do not have a child of age to receive a destiny reading, I implore you to leave at once. A sigh carries over the crowd. As for those who live in Andaria, who do not have a place inside the ceremony, we ask you to stop your current or personal agendas and help us welcome our neighbors. Everyone, please open your homes to them and help us carry out the event in a timely fashion so that they may leave as soon as possible. I both expect and appreciate your cooperation. She smiles with soft dimples at the corners of her lips. It's innocent and shows that she is a bit nervous. She looks back at me again. The ceremony will commence the day after tomorrow, and I am very pleased. From this crowd, I sense a hero, she says, and then scans the crowd with a confused expression. Or heroes will emerge, unlike we have ever seen. May the stars shine upon your child and shape a stronger vein for the future. A joyous roar comes over the crowd. When the lengthy applause ends, both the priestess and her companion re-enter the shadow of the cave, and the people around me disperse in all directions back into their homes. That's when I first see him, a new race of elf I have never seen before. His irises glow a dim red. His skin is charcoal gray, and his ears have two sharp points angled straight up to the sky. At first, I'd swear I'm looking at a demon, although I can see the expression on his face is soft, sad, and vulnerable. The boy with messy black hair is about my height and appears close to my age. He stands next to a man that could be his father. The adult stands at 5 foot 11 inches tall, with proportions more like the average human when compared to the wood elves. The wood elves I'm used to. He isn't tall or overly muscled like the Trent elves, nor is he short or stumpy like the Oaken elves. As average as he is, his eyes make him look evil. Both are dressed in gray wool tunics and brown breeches. I can tell that I'm not the only one staring. Some of the wood elves are looking at them with distaste. They're called shadow elves, Sierra tells me. Caston looks around. Shadow elves? Where? Why is everyone looking at them that way? Because they're not a Bane race, Castalia answers. They aren't a Veil-dominant race either, sis, Sierra adds with frustration. They prefer to stay out of both religions and their quarrels. They do have an they are an antisocial negative race, continues Castanilla. Don't judge them by their skin, Mom demands. We raised you better than that, Castanilla. But Mom, everyone is different. They chose to be here tonight and came with other members of the Vane to a place that only the Vane knows about. It's safe to say they must be a part of our religion, despite what their race is. But, stop saying but, Acheron whispers in an angry tone. They must feel like outsiders. The least you could do is act nice. I glance at the sad face of the boy and realize he feels like I do here sometimes. Should we ask them if they would like to stay with us? Sierra asks. They're cave dwellers. They can find a cave, Castanilla says. Yes, we can at least make them an offer. That would be very sweet of you, Sierra, Mom says. Castanilla glares at Sierra with a pouting face. Sierra jerks her head back. I didn't mean me. You have to shed your shyness at some point. This is good practice for you, Wayston states. What do I say? Explain that we would like them to stay with us. If they say no, then at least you tried, Wayston says. But, Sierra says. Stop. You sound like your sister now, Acheron says. Castanilla's jaw drops. I'm right here. Go, Wayston tells Sierra. Shy little Sierra takes slow steps toward the gray elves. I'm uncomfortable for her safety, as any older brother would. Soon, I watch the older shadow elf nod and then follow her back to us. I can see that Sierra is nervous, but she is smiling, and the shadow elf boy is smiling along with her. It's a total transformation from the face I saw on him before. The smile is a battle within itself, as the features of his lips are structured for someone not meant to smile at all. When they approach us, I can gather that their skin appears hard and rough in texture like coal. Thank you for your offer. We appreciate the hospitality. My name is Jamin Vax, and this is my son, Randon. the man says in a scratchy voice before bowing to us. Rhiannon bows next, and they both examine me with curiosity. You must be the boy we heard about, the one from the stars. I hear the priestess is very interested in you. Really? She could show it more. I haven't had my chance to talk with her yet. That's a conversation for another time, Wystan says. It's very late, and there's a lot to do over the next 2 days. Why don't we show our guests to where they may sleep? We can go over real introductions tomorrow. Agreed. My son and I have come a great distance to get here, and would love a few hours to rest. While we walk back to our tree home, Randon and I throw quick glances at each other. His grim facial expressions and the piercing light of his eyes make me uncomfortable. He may be young, but he looks like some sort of rock-skinned vampire. When we make it back to our home, each of us sacrifices one of our pelts to make a bed for the strangers to sleep on in the den. I head to my room, and Cassian stops me in the hallway. Can you sleep in here? I don't feel safe. I agree to it and pull my pelts down to the entrance of their room. I lie down, close my eyes, and try to clear my head of the thought that 2 pairs of glowing red eyes are downstairs in our den. The next morning, Cassidy shakes me awake. Quietly, I might add, and I smile. Cassidy has been near silent since we took the strangers in. I could get used to this. Later, when we walk outside to get breakfast, some Trent elves nearly run me over while carrying logs through the main section of the city. Luckily, Randon grabs my shirt and pulls me out of the way. I stumble and fall onto my butt as I learn that the forest is already hard at work to set up the Destiny Ring ceremony. Your reflexes are lacking, friend, Randon says with a dry voice. From what I keep hearing, many things about me are lacking. He laughs and he measures my shape. Your proportions aren't pitiful. You're built like me, just softer. I thank Randon for the save, get to my feet, and dust off my butt. Several families are happy to make their way to the dining area. We follow, and when we arrive, I'm shocked to see the long line to wait for a spot at a table. Both of our shadow elf companions appear angrier than their standard facial expressions. This is ridiculous, Wystan says. You knew this would happen, Akron tells him. I can imagine being much worse on the day of the reading, Jamin states. We don't have to eat right now. I'm not hungry, Syrah says as her stomach growls. Says you, I'm starving, Castinia confesses. Just then, a familiar voice calls out, Fish! Fresh fish here! I turn around and see Miquelette pulling around one of those egg-made carts. I rushed to the chubby man, and he turns to me with a smile. Well, hello there. Hello, Mr. Winters. How much is it for one of those fish? For you, it's free. That's nonsense, Wystan says. We wouldn't want you to lose a profit. Miquelette's smile drops as his eyes shift to him. Well, how about 2 gold crowns? He says, and repaints a smile back on his face. Make it 4 gold crowns and you have a deal. 4? But Mr. Winters retorts with a hurt expression. Wystan glances at me with lowered eyebrows. We appreciate the offer, but my family doesn't need favors. He only wants to be nice, I say while looking back at the family from 50 feet away. Jamin and Rand are with them and all have inquisitive faces. And he is, but this is a profitable day for Mr. Winters. I turn back to Miquelette with a fake smile, and my face is hot and flushed. Wystan's glance juggles from me to Miquelette for a quick second before he smiles like a light bulb is turned on in his head. If you don't want to accept my money, maybe I can extend a more acceptable offer. Your son wanted to be a warrior before he died, did he not? Nate wants to be a warrior, and I already have 2 daughters. already have 2 children. Sorry. And I already have 2 children to present at the ceremony. Why don't you take my place behind Nate and present him to the priestess as if he was your son? I turned to him, feeling hurt. He won't even acknowledge my painful stare. I had only decided last night to put my suspicion behind me. And here he is, throwing me away. Maybe it's too late to rebuild my relationship with him. I look at Micolette and don't know how to react. How do you feel about that, boy? Mr. Winters asks. I turn my eyes back to Wystan and wait for him to look at me, but he doesn't. I close my mouth and press my lips together in anger. I stare at Micolette, knowing at least he would be proud to present me, and I nod. Well, alright then. He hands Wystan 3 of his biggest rat fish. Wystan tries to refuse the extra 2 fish, although Mr. Winters won't take them back. We walk back to the rest of the family, and everyone senses my distress. Everyone except Wystan, that is. I have already lost 1 father, and now I'm losing 2. Is something wrong, Akram asks me. I fake a smile. Everything is fine. I'm letting Mr. Winters present me at the reading. That's sweet. I'm proud of you. Micolette must be excited. We make our way to a meadow that's twice the size of the Livas family's. Here we sit to eat and watch several wood elves fixing a large worn platform, replacing sections of wood that have rotten out. Randon and his father keep glancing at me. It's hard not to notice their piercing red eyes bouncing in my direction. Is it true? Are you really an alien? Randon asks. I stare in Wystan's direction, knowing that he might protest any conversing we may have during breakfast. But after what he did, I no longer care. Well, I'm not from around here. Siran cast a glance at me. Then where are you from? A place called Earth. I never heard of it. It doesn't exist anymore. I whisper and feel uncomfortable goosebumps crawl down my arms. So you came to Andaria? Nate belongs here now. But why are you here, Casta asked with an attitude. Castania, Mom shouts. No, it's fine. We're used to this kind of reaction, Jamin says. To other races, our expressions aren't very pleasant and are often misread. We apologize. Why are you here? Sira whispers with a nervous face. Akram turns to Sira in shock that she asked such a rude question. We're here because my son has a dream. It's a dream of adventuring the land and saving people, Jamin says with a smile and nudges Randon. Sadly, the colorful details of that dream won't be achieved while living with our people. He's heard of the vein and begged me to be a part of it. I love Randon and want him to achieve his dream, no matter how childish they may appear. I'm an outsider here, but I felt even more so living among my own kind. This is Randon, by the way, I think. I knew I didn't want to live in caves. Oh, no it isn't. Sorry. I thought it was neat saying this part, but no. So it says, I am an outsider here, but I felt even more so living among my own kind. I knew I didn't want to live in caves and only see the world at night. I want to fight for an honorable cause, and not simply because I'm a part of an angry race. I'm here because the vein is closer to Mother Planet, to the Mother Planet, and the characteristics of its people, as a whole, are a happier lot than the Veil. If one of the two were the good side, I believe it would be the vein, Randon states, and Castania is speechless. I felt the same way back on Earth. I know exactly how you feel, Randon states. You boys might have a lot in common. It's tradition that the children participating in the ceremony are not to work during this special time. Nathan, you should show Randon the area and get to know each other, Akram says, and after our meal is over, we leave to do just that. We walk through town, into the markets, and over to the Reaver Caves. I take him to the woodcutter's site, to the river where Michelet's son died, and to the tree where Droblibus rests, all while telling him how they played a part in my life so far. While walking toward Kendari's workshop, we're in a remote location, as always, when we spot Palu and Jun coming over a hill. I almost didn't recognize them at first, because they're dressed in fancier clothes than I'm used to seeing them wear. Jun is in a tan vest over a yellowish-green shirt and green pants. He has his hair combed back rather than parted to one side. On the other hand, Palu has braided his long hair and decorated it with gold tinsel. He wears a tight-fitted green robe that could be mistaken for a dress. Those are the two guys I told you about. We should try to avoid them. They already hate me, and I have a feeling that if they see you, they're going to have a conniption fit. What is a conniption fit? Randon asks. It means if we don't avoid them, we're going to get in a fight, and I can't hit them. Why not? Because I'm morally bound. I look back at Palu and Jun, and they've noticed us now. Awesome. If they're going to attack you, then you must defend yourself. Fight back. You wouldn't understand. Can we please just go? I ask as the two are closing in on us. No. You must learn to stand up for yourself. With a smirk across Jun's face, he says, a coal head and a round ear. This day just keeps getting better. I'd rather be a coal head than a tree hugger, Randon states with his back to them. I crack a smile and laugh, thinking of that term back home. What did you call us? Palu blurts out. Tree hugger. Would I rather call you a crack tower? Randon asks in a louder voice while turning to them. How dare you? If you're going to attack us by our skins, be ready to receive your share of the bigotry, Randon replies. Nobody can use those names in Endaria without provoking an attack, Jun says. So I'm provoking an attack, Randon retorts, and his right arm begins to glow violet in color. Fuzzy static sparks of purple light burst all over his arm like flies hitting a bug zapper. The magic transforms their enraged faces to worry. I've never seen such shrunken confidence on their faces, and that makes me jealous of my new friend. Jun shouts, "You can't treat us this way. You're a visitor here. I have nothing against your race, but I'm not going to let you act this way. I'll treat you as if you were in my home, because I am home. I am a member of the Vein. We both are. Start treating us that way." Polo takes a step back. "You don't belong here. You're guests," Jun tells us as he follows Polo's lead. "If we are, you should work on your hospitality," Randon says. "Come on, we shouldn't be getting in trouble right before the ceremony," Polo says, and they turn to walk away. When they've walked a distance from us, Randon smiles at me. "You acted no better than them using those names." "True, but it got the job done," Randon replies as his magic fades. "It's only going to make it worse for me once you leave." "You need to defend yourself," Randon says. "They're stronger than you. Faster too, right? If they come to you seeking a fight, you have every right to protect yourself." "It's not so easy. I can't spark magic from my fingers anytime I want." That may not have been the best way to teach you, I'll admit," he smiles. "Want to know something funny? If those two knew anything about magic, they'd know by its color that I was scaring them off with a healing spell." I look at him and he stares back at me. Then we both laugh. "I didn't know you were a magical race." "Shadow elves have an affinity for both magic and physical traits." "Nice. What other traits do your people have?" "I don't like to think of those traits because I try not to be like my people." He grits his teeth. "They're hateful, heartless bastards. That's why the wood elves are upset I'm here. They judge me by my skin and nothing else. His anger fades until all that's left is a sad look I first saw him with. It seems that no matter what planet you're on, racism will always exist. What about you? What preconceived traits would we judge you on? Please don't ask me that. He looks confused. Do you hate your race too? No. They can relate to me in ways that nobody here can. And I miss them every day. Then what's the problem? I pause to think of how to respond. I can't translate the best words to describe them. Just try. What would the Wood Elves think of your people? This question makes me think of us, not as a nation, but as a whole, and of the events of our history. For the first time in my life, I've come to the fullest realization that I came from a dark place. From an outsider's point of view, humans are, or were, power-hungry, deceitful monsters, I say while walking past him toward our destination again. I cannot see his face, I can only sense his discomfort. I don't believe that could be you. You're too morally bound. I'm the last of my kind. I have something to prove. And that is the end of Chapter 9, Company. I know that I kind of stuttered there a little bit and messed up a little bit, but I tried to do good for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you later. Stay motivated.